Hello everyone, Specter here, and welcome to Star Citizen. Today I'm going to talk about the development of NPC in Star Citizen in the game, alright? So in the game, when you walk around the cities and space stations, you probably can see a lot of NPCs. Some of them walking around, some of them standing, some of them checking something with their mobile glass, some of them standing on chairs, which is one of their cultures. Or some of them probably trying to kill themselves by standing outside of the fences. And of course, the most annoying thing would be some of them will probably stand still at the only entrance so that you have no chance to get in or get out of some places, which is not very nice. Only a small amount of NPCs you can interact with, just like this guy at the counter. At least you can say goodbye to him. A handful of NPCs can offer you something beneficial as well, but only a handful of them. And the term beneficial means credits, and also sometimes a free ticket for you to visit the prison in-game personally, okay? So those people probably would be this guy in Hurston, or this woman in in Hardcore, or maybe this guy in Grimpax who lost half of his health point due to drug abuse. So long story short, the NPCs in Star Citizen currently is not even worth to be mentioned about, as they are all nearly all of them are doing nothing, or basically useless thing. Some players may say that, well, human players are supposed to be a main character in Star Citizen, isn't it? And we don't need to care about those silly NPCs after all, as they did nothing, by the way. After server meshing, well, basically, it means that hundreds or even thousands of players are going to share the same universe from different servers. Then why we need NPCs for? Probably, they may be right, for now. Because this kind of cases only if we are stuck in Stanton system only, okay? But if you look at this map, and you can find out that, well, we got dozens of systems in Star Citizen. You don't need to count, it's 40 of them, give or take. And it's not even included some of the systems as the screen is not big enough. So it means that even if we got hundreds or even thousands of players sharing the same verse, but still, you may find out yourself being alone in a system without any real human players. So it means that if you really need help for very emergency situations, people might need to spend hours to get to your position. That would be only if someone wants to help you. In order to let human players to have a better experience in Star Citizen and fill up the empty spots around the verse, CIG will use NPCs to balance the game. The system that CIG created will kind of reflecting what human players will do in the game, and they will let the NPCs to do the similar thing. For example, if players running cargo, some NPCs will fly their cargo ship to trade as well. If players are going to mine, then some NPCs might get inside of a cave to mine with you, or maybe they will fly their mining ship to the asteroid field to mine as well. On the other hand, NPC might react to human players or other NPCs. If more people travel around the specific route, NPC pirates might increase in that area to stop the traffic. which of course, human players can do the piracy activities to affect NPCs' behavior as well. Meanwhile, the NPC securities, authorities, or bounty hunters might react to the increasing piracy in that area and start to encounter the threat as well. Of course, many people tried to explain this as best as they can. Even CIG tried to do so. But as a part of the system, we cannot really see the whole picture. So I think I should find a way to let you guys understand a little bit better. No worries. All I need to do is to jump through a portal to the different time zone would be fine. Am I died? Where am I? Well, no. I think I succeeded. I jumped through the portal. Yes, I did. Well, welcome to Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, everyone. This is a city in Calradia. As you can see, just like in Star Citizen, there are lots of NPCs walking around. But unlike in Star Citizen though, you can actually find children in here. Yes, children. If you look back to Star Citizen, you probably need to concern about some sort of birth control policies going on there. Well, just kidding. What I want to say is, well, you can at least chat with the NPCs and even ask them to help you to do some easy tasks. When the time you travel outside of the cities or villages, you can see a lot of NPCs roaming around as well, such as caravans, lords with troops, armies, villagers, looters, and bandits. The reason why they are moving around is based on the needs of the cities or themselves. Well, let me use a simple way to explain how does it work, alright? So the villages around the city will try to sell their own goods, their local products, to the city in order to earn money for themselves. Meanwhile, the shops in the city, if there is some shops, okay, that requires those material, then they will use part of those materials to produce a new item. For example, if the local village will produce clay, then the villagers will sell their clay to the city. And if there's a pottery shop that requires clay to make their own product, then they will use part of those clay to make a new item, which is potteries. Well, since the city got a new item to sell, it means that there will be more profits for the city as well as the lord who owned the city. If the shops in the city cannot get their hands on the raw materials from the nearby villages due to no such a supply or other factors such as wars going around happening around the city, then the caravans can be act like a supplier for the shops instead of the villages, because the caravans will travel around the map and buy things with a lower price and sell their items with a higher price in the cities that they need those materials. So basically, the caravans will travel to different cities time to time in order to sell their goods. At that point, the shops in the city can still get their hands on the raw materials they need, but with a higher margin, with a higher price. But still, it would be better than nothing, right? So lastly, it would be about the lords. Well, the lords will spend a lot of money. Well, even though you might not see them spend money on anything else, but still, they will spend money on different things. Firstly, would be recruitment costs. So they will roam around the cities and villages that belongs to their factions in order to recruit new soldiers into their troops in order to strengthen their forces. So you need to, the lords need to pay in order to recruit new soldiers. That would be one thing. The second thing would be they need to pay for the troops, because even though you got new troops, but still those troops need money in order to stay in the forces. So in order to pay for the soldiers, the lords need to spend quite a lot of money to do so. Thirdly, would be about the settlements, the constructions. All right. So since the lords usually own the castles and also the cities, they need a lot of money in order to improve their settlements, in order to keep, the invaders away from the cities, or maybe keep the citizen, the people that they ruled happy. Then it turns out they need a lot of money to improve their settlements in order to do so. If not, riots will be a thing for them, and also it would be easier for the enemy faction to take over the cities, which is a bad thing for the lords. So that's why the lords need to spend quite a lot of money. And lastly, but usually it would be depends on situation. It would be about losing the war. If the lords lost the war, they usually need money in order to talk. I mean, to secure peace between the enemy faction and themselves. So that's why the lords themselves usually seems like they didn't spend any kind of money, but still they are the one who spent most of the money in the game. All right, so I know that at this point you might want to ask why I need to talk that much about Bannerlord instead of Star Citizen. No worries, this is not off topic. There will be two reasons why I need to do this. First, well, I need to say that even if CIG fully developed all the NPC systems in the future, but still, most of the NPCs are not going to be physicalized and visible. So that would be very hard for anybody to explain how will they work in a very efficient way. So in order to achieve such a goal, I need to, well, kind of using the NPCs from the other game that will do similar thing, or at least I think they are doing the similar thing. Okay, in order for you guys to have a better understanding, how will the NPCs in Star Citizen looks like in the future. All right, this is the first thing. The second reason is because the NPC's behavior in Bannerlord is based on profit, which is similar or even as same as the reason why the NPCs in Star Citizen moving around in the future. We, the human players, might affect the things that the NPCs will do in Star Citizen in the future. But how to achieve such a goal would be affected by the NPC's own decisions. In order for the NPCs to make their own decisions, it will lead to another topic, which is the personality traits of the NPCs. For me, I will divide it into two different parts in order to explain it. The first part is going to be about the status of the NPCs. The other will be about the skill level of the NPCs. Alright, so let's talk about the NPC status. For me, it means that how will the NPCs behave in the game. So CIG in 2019 did mention about this already when the time they introducing that Quanta. Alright, so at this point you may think that I'm just repeating what they are saying, and yes indeed, because well that is what they said. So well, if you missed that part, well, I'll just simply try to repeat a little bit according to their words, okay? So, yep, I hope that you will not be bored about this. So, yep, according to CIG, when they introducing Quanta, okay, the NPC will have their own personality traits, okay, such as maybe sometimes they will have happiness, they have aggressions, they have like ambitions, and also like something like criminality, etc., etc. So these personality traits, okay, these traits will affect their actions in the game. So for example, if an NPC got more ambitions, then it will try to to push itself harder comparing to the other NPCs. So if the NPC is not happy, then well, it may try to change its situations by leaving the location or change its job. And with the NPCs who got more higher criminality, then it means that it is more willing to commit more serious crimes. So it means that basically, yep, if you really use it for examples, then if the NPCs is trying to like smuggle something and that NPCs got more ambitions, when the time the authorities came, normally the NPCs will just try to like will be will give up and then just wait for wait for the authority to arrest them. But for that particular NPCs who got like more ambition, then probably the NPC is trying to fight back, or maybe they will try to escape from the authority by performing quantum travel right away before it is being arrested. So if the NPC is not happy enough for that case, then well, if you use it for example, then probably it would be like if the NPCs like find that when it is doing box delivery missions is not going to be profitable, then it's not happy at all, and it would change the situation by maybe it will perform mining instead of doing box delivery missions, or simply leave standard system maybe to go to the other systems, for example, Nix or maybe Pyro or etc. etc. And for the case of like NPCs who got higher criminality, then probably is well, if you have ever seen the Ninetale lockdown, those NPCs probably would be having a higher criminality traits because, well, they're there to lock down a well-secured space stations instead of like simply doing performing smuggling or some kind of like piracy thing. All right, that would be much more severe compared to those crimes. Okay, by locking down the whole entire space station. Okay, so let's get back to Bannerlord first. Many characters, including yourself, got different kinds of personality traits. For example, if the character got honest as their trait, it means that the character will keep his or her promises and finish the tasks without violating his or her oath. If the character who got crew as their personality traits, it means that the character has no problem to raid the villages or kill innocent villagers in the game. Now, if you hired a companion who got a merciful trait and now you're raiding a village and killing innocent villagers, then your companion probably would not be happy about that and want to talk to you or even ask you to stop. Although CIG didn't mention about how to maintain your crew NPC crew members or like anything about NPC crew members yet, okay? At least it's not about like mentally affecting your NPC crews. But I think that your crew members or NPC crew members, um, I mean, their happiness would be affected by what have you done in the game. So, if you hired an honest crew on your ship while you are going to raid a space station, perhaps, all right, that particular crew might not be happy about what you would do or what have you done, and might ask permission to leave your ship. All right, they may want to leave all right, instead of staying on your ship. Okay, so of course, some other factors might also affecting your NPC crews or workers' happiness as well. So one of them probably would be a proper working environment. So especially like if your ship is going to have a lot of facilities that support for long journey. So for example, like this is might be the reason why CIG is going to put many bathrooms on your ships. Well, they are kind of useless, but this is one of the factors that probably I think it will affecting your crew's happiness or workers' happiness, all right? Because if you don't have a bathroom, then it means that every time they need to do their business inside of their suit, that will not be ideal for your crew members, all right? The second thing that I can think of that will affect your NPC's crew's morale and also your workers' morale would be the food and drinks that you're going to supply them. All right. So maybe if you put the better quality of food and drinks for your NPC's crew and also your workers, then they might have a like might be more willing to stay on your ship or maybe work for you for a longer period of time. Okay, now let's talk about the skills of the NPCs, which is related to their intelligence as well. Of course, the skill level of the NPCs will not be visible like what you can see in Bannerlord, but well, in Star Citizen, the NPCs are still having different kind of skills that you might want to consider before you hire them to like before you hire them and also before you assign them to do something for you. For example, you might not want these guys to join your party if you wanted to strike a bunker or doing combat missions, while you don't want to ask these mercenaries to do mining for you. And you definitely don't want to hire this guy who pretend to work at all. I'm not saying that the NPCs cannot do other things else beside their specialities, but they may not perform as good as what they are good at, and they may need some time to practice before they can do it better. So imagine when the time we're new to Star Citizen, we might need some time to practice before we are good at how to control our ships, right? And of course how to navigate the Mobi glass so that we can like see some information that we want to find. So basically this is the same concept, all right? So in theory, you can train up this guy in Grimhacks to be a master box delivery man if you are willing to spend some time to train him up. At this point, I know that you might want to ask, does it mean that if you are willing to spend time to train your NPC crew and also your NPC's workers up, you will have a group of very skillful NPCs to work for you? In theory, yes, you can. But this would not be easy. The reason would be very simple. Imagine in real life, okay, a person who got higher education and also more experience about doing their jobs probably, okay, in theory should have like higher salary comparing to the one that without any kind of experience and just graduate with a lower education level. Okay, so this applies to or maybe applies to the NPCs in Star Citizen. So, well, if your NPC is going to be more skillful, more permits, more certificates, okay, so they are super powerful, they are jack of all trades, then their wages might need to be increased over and over time. So basically, time to time, you need to increase their wages. If not, well, why they need to work for you? They are not slaves, they are workers, right? So in order to balance things out, then it means that you need to do more work or like do more missions. Well, if you increase your workload, then it means that your workers, your NPC workers, and your NPC crews need to work more, right? And as I said, or maybe in real life, if people need to work overtime, will you feel happy about it? Yeah, that goes to NPCs as well. They may not be happy about like working overtime and too much pressure on about, I mean, if their work give them too much pressure, it means that they will not be happy about it. Their happiness will decrease. And as I mentioned about happiness of the NPCs already, if they are not happy, they might want to change their situation by leaving the location, right? So it means that they may just simply quit. And yep, this is the reason why basically it's hard. Okay, I'm not saying you cannot, but it would be very hard for you to keep a group of very skillful NPCs around you as your crew or workers. On the other hand, how about hiring a group of NPCs that are not skillful at all? Of course, if the NPCs are not skillful at all, it means that their wages would be lower compared to the skillful one. All right, but there would be two different problems. The less severe one would be, well, if your NPCs are doing box delivery missions, and since they are not skillful, it means that they might need more time to finish their work, or just simply they did their work wrongly. So fail to complete the tasks on time, or maybe like fail to finish your tasks, probably will affect your reputation, okay, among your clients, which is a bad thing because that NPC crew is bound to you. So it turns out you will have a bad reputation among your clients. That would be bad, but not severe at all. The more severe one would be, okay, so I need to say talk about some background first, okay, just simply one or two sentences. So unlike in Stanton, many systems in Star Citizen in the future probably is not going to be well populated. It means that you might have a hard time to find new NPC crews. Although you can train up your NPCs crews or workers, okay, through by using simulators, okay, or just simply if you do ask them to do combat missions, then you may ask them to equip like heavy armors and like get a better weaponries, okay, to increase their survivability. Since they are not they're not skillful at all. It means that still they have a higher chance to got killed by the enemy NPC. Of course, if you talk about, well, finishing your tasks, okay, even though you got a lot of NPC crew members or like workers died in the process, your clients uh, might not be affected because they just pay the money. Then how to achieve it? Probably they don't care. But it will talk about the reputation among the NPC crews and like the workers around the verse because, well, if every time you got your NPCs crews or workers died in the process, then I don't think anyone want to be hired by you. So it turns out you just increase your difficulty to hire a new NPC crew in the future. All right. So basically, hiring a bunch of NPCs that are not skillful or hiring a group of NPCs that are extremely skillful at everything would not be ideal. So I would just recommend you to like stand in the middle ground. Just simply hire someone that they will know what to do, but not that kind of extremely skillful. All right, you can keep one or two, but just depends on your like play style. Okay, to hire your NPC crews will be fine. All right. Okay, so the last things that I'm going to talk about would be about the missions because, well, the missions in the future in Star Citizen is going to, I mean, most of them will be given by the NPCs themselves. And since I covered the personality traits of the NPCs, it means that the missions in the future probably would be much more interesting comparing to nowadays. All right, so in order to show that how will the missions change due to the personality traits of the NPCs. So let me show you I mean not show, but let me tell you a scenario, all right? So imagine that you went to the outpost and the NPC who's in charge at that outpost is asking you for help to help them to mine for some minerals, all right, with a prospector. Now, why would it like this? Because, well, they tell you the background would be like they work for someone, and it turns out their own prospector was breaking down. They can't fix it right now, so and they need to finish the mission urgently. So they ask you for help. Now, if you're facing an NPC that is very stubborn, all right, then even though you have some other ways to solve their problems, they still will ask you to just go mine for them, all right? No other thing else, just mine for them, all right? So this personality will restrict it the way, I mean, you have only one way to achieve and finish the mission is to go and mine, all right? So it's not very ideal for you, but I should say theoretically, this kind of mission would be the safest because, well, you have only one way to achieve it, and usually, well, you can see whether it's legal or not, okay? Because some missions, like the personal missions nowadays in Star Citizen, probably will offer you a free ticket to the prison. So if in the future, okay, you got some missions, well, if it's like this kind of straightforward, then you might have an easier time to like do it in a legal way, okay? So you will be safe, okay? Not being afraid of being caught by the authorities. All right, so you have pros and cons for this kind of mission, okay, due to the personality traits of the NPC. So the second scenario would be, I mean, the same scenario, but if you change the NPC into NPCs is willing to be quite flexible, okay? So that NPC probably would be allowed you to use different kind of method to solve the problem. So since okay, so the NPC still ask you to mine for them, all right? It won't change, but maybe you are playing the game at 3 a.m. for some reasons and you are going to about to sleep and you don't want to spend so much time to fly towards some sort of places and mine for something, okay, and bring the ore back, okay, it would take you a lot of time, so you don't want to do that. And you find that their prospector will not be hard to fix, so you may offer counter offer, okay, for like to ask them whether you can fix their prospector instead of using your prospector to mine for them. Okay, if the NPC that is flexible enough, theoretically, he or she will accept your offer because their goal will be go to mine. Okay, this is their goal. And if the NPC is that kind of flexible, they don't really care what kind of method to solve the problem. So basically, they may have a easier time to accept your offer and allow you to complete the mission by or complete the contract by just simply repair their prospector. Okay, so this is a second way to finish a job. Okay, and which is affected by the personality traits of the NPC. The third one probably would be more darker or the darkest one. Okay, would be if the NPC who offer you such a mission have a higher criminality trait. So it means that he or she probably would be quite flexible to the point that they don't really care what will happen to their surroundings. Okay, so for example, even if you are going to rob or maybe you destroy uh, the other mining ships in order to get their ore, the NPC who offered you the contract or mission will not question about where you get those ores from. So all of a sudden you fly with a glaive, or you fly with a blade or something like that, and then all of a sudden you are dragging a, a few containers of ore and back here. They won't question you, okay? So it's increased. I mean, yeah, of course you can increase. It will increase your reputation among them, okay? And it will increase the flexibilities that you can finish the mission, and to the point that might be, okay, the darkest part might be, well, since they are working, okay, the NPC who offer your the job for you are working for someone else, right? That's what I said about the mission. I mean, before the mission, okay, the background. So if it's too urgent, and maybe it's they are working for some gang, then they might not even question what will happen to their client. So it means that if you want to solve the problem, you don't want to mine, you don't want to loot someone else, okay, you don't want to destroy someone innocent ships in order to get the ores, then probably you can solve it by like doing something to the one who asked them to mine, right? So this is why I would say the personality traits will make the missions in the future would be much more interesting, because, well, it turns out you have different options to finish your job, okay, except for the first one, okay. The others, well, you have many ways to achieve it, so it will increase, um I mean, this will make the players become more enjoyable about the game. Let's summarize. NPCs in Star Citizen will be very important in the future, because they will be the main system who simulate different events according to what we have done in the first, as well as being our companion to assist us when we are exploring in the game. More varieties of the missions given by the NPCs can let us enjoy the game more by using different tactics to achieve our goals. At last, if you stay with me until the end of this video, just want to tell you that this is the first time I make such a video, so I hope that you enjoy, and thanks for watching, and see you for the next one. Bye bye.